Moving on to the next pulp therapy, pulpotomy. So basically, pulpotomy is complete removal of coronal portion of the dental pulp followed by placement of a suitable medicament. Now this medicament, what it does is it promotes pulp healing and in turn it preserves the vitality of the tooth. Let us look at the objectives. So the objective is to remove the inflamed and infected coronal pulp, thus preserving the vitality of the radicular pulp. This helps in pulp healing. Moving on to the indications. The first indication is pulp exposure due to a large caries lesion, or it can also be a mechanical pulp exposure. Second is asymptomatic caries tooth in primary tooth. And one of the most important thing is the type of hemorrhage at the exposure site. It should be bright red and it should be a controlled one. We'll see how to do hemorrhage control once I start talking about the procedure in detail. Let's move on to the contraindications. So the first one is in cases where there is irreversible pulpitis or persistent toothache, presence of swelling or fistula. Then one of the contraindications is once you do the RCO and if you are encountered with uncontrollable bleeding, you cannot go for pulpotomy. Then you have to think about doing a pulpectomy. Next is presence of a pathologic mobility and radiographically if there is presence of root resorption. What is the rationale of this therapy? The inflamed coronal portion of the pulp is removed and a dressing is placed over the pulp stumps to protect it, and this promotes healing. Now, the severity of the inflammatory process will determine the quality and quantity of the reparative dentine produced in the dentinal bridge. For example, in cases of severe inflammation, there will be limited reparative dentine produced which could be void of dentinal tubules, whereas mild inflammation will produce reparative dentine with varying numbers of dentinal tubules. Now, there are various types of pulpotomy and a lot of materials are used in a lot of procedures. So let us understand the types of pulpotomies and the materials used in each of them. This brings us to the classification of pulpotomy. So it is broadly classified as vital pulpotomy and non-vital pulpotomy. Under vital pulpotomy, we have three types again. The first one is devitalization, second is preservation, and the third is regeneration. The other name for devitalization is mummification or cauterization because it just mummifies, or in other words, it destroys the vital tissue present in the tooth. Now, devitalization again has two types. One is single sitting and two stages pulpotomy. The materials used according to the types are different. They are formocrosol, electrosurgery, Islix formaldehyde, paraform devitalizing paste. Now, the second under vital pulpotomy is a preservation type. It is also called as minimal devitalization or a non-inductive one because it maintains the maximum vital tissue in the tooth. The materials used for this type are ZOE or zinc oxide eugenol, glutaraldehyde and ferric sulfate. The third type is a regeneration. It is also called as inductive or reparative because it leads to formation of a dentin bridge. Materials used here are calcium hydroxide, bone morphogenic proteins, MTA, collagen, freeze-dried bone, osteogenic protein. The next is non-vital pulpotomy. It is also called as mortal pulpotomy. It is done in compromised cases and the material often used in this is beechwood cresol. Now I am going to talk about the procedure of pulpotomy. We will start with the most commonly done procedure, which is the one visit or the formocrosol pulpotomy. First, of course, LA is administered and a rubber dam is placed. Following this, all the caries is removed with a high-speed burr. Enlarge the exposed area and de-roof the pulp chamber. Overhanging enamel or ledges are removed at this point. Now start scooping out the coronal pulp with spoon excavator. All the debris is removed from the area and the area is cleaned well with saline. Following this, a cotton pellet is placed over the pulp stumps to achieve hemostasis. Now is the time you use formocrosol. So a cotton pellet is dipped in diluted formocrosol and is placed over the stumps for 4 minutes. Over this, a dry cotton pellet is placed. Now this is done to avoid the formocrosol contact with the other oral tissues. After 4 minutes, the cotton pellet is removed. Now, once you remove the cotton pellet, you need to check for brownish discoloration of the cotton pellet as well as the pulp stump. This is an indication of pulp fixation. Following this, ZOE or zinc oxide eugenol cement is placed in the pulp chamber. The patient is scheduled for the next appointment a week later. Okay, now after a week when the patient comes back, the tooth has to be asymptomatic. Only then can we proceed with the permanent restoration. The most commonly used filling material used is your GIC. After your permanent restoration, a crown is placed. Now again, there are various types of crowns, but the most commonly used is the stainless steel crown. Now, what is the mechanism of action of formocrozole? How does it do the work? So, it simply prevents the tissue autolysis. This is done by bonding to the proteins. Now, let's move on to some of the disadvantages of formocrozole quickly. So, formocrozole and formaldehyde have shown to be cytotoxic, mutagenic and carcinogenic in nature. Now, what does it mean? Cytotoxic means toxic to the living cells in the body. Mutagenic is a substance which can cause mutations in DNA, which further can cause certain diseases. One of them is cancer. And then comes carcinogenic, which simply means it is likely to cause cancer. All these things were shown in animal experiments by Lewis, but it was found out that to achieve this kind of toxicity, 3000 pulpotomies need to be done in the same individual. Obviously, this does not happen. Your next disadvantage is systemic distribution. So, formocrozole has a tendency of getting distributed in the body. This was seen in animal experiments when they found out that formaldehyde was present in PDL, bone, dentine and even urine. Okay, so now we have learnt about one visit or the formocrozole pulpotomy technique. Let us see how a two-visit devitalization type is done. In the first visit, LA is administered and a rubber dam is placed. Following this, cavity preparation is done, caries excavation is done. Now here, instead of formocrozole, we use paraformaldehyde paste. So it is incorporated in the cotton pellet and it is gently placed onto the exposure. After this, the tooth is sealed for a couple of weeks. Now what happens inside in the meantime is formaldehyde gas is liberated. Now this formaldehyde gas enters the coronal and radicular pulp, thereby causing fixation of the tissues. Okay, the second visit, which happens after 2 weeks, once again LA is placed and a rubber dam is placed. Following this, temporary restoration is removed, old cotton pellet is removed, cleaning of the cavity with saline is done. After drying the tooth, an antiseptic paste is placed and the tooth is restored permanently, followed by placement of a crown. Now besides this, there is one more type called Cvek pulpotomy. This is also called as calcium hydroxide pulpotomy or young permanent partial pulpotomy. So this is done in young permanent teeth. By young permanent teeth, I mean permanent teeth where the root and closure has not yet taken place and the root apices are open. So when such teeth have pulp exposures due to mechanical or bacterial means, and if the pulp is vital, which is confirmed by various clinical tests, then this procedure could be carried out in them. The rationale here is to preserve the pulp vitality of radicular pulp and to encourage the normal root closure. Let us see how it is done. Once again, the first step would be for administration of LA and placement of rubber dam. After this, all the carious portion is removed, coronal pulp is removed, hemorrhage is arrested. Now once the hemostasis is achieved, calcium hydroxide is placed over the exposed pulp, ensuring there is no formation of blood clot there. Following this, a temporary filling is done. Then a recall visit is scheduled. In the recall visit, the tooth should be asymptomatic and radiograph should be showing a formation of a dentine bridge. Once this is ensured or confirmed, a permanent filling is done with the most commonly used restorative fillings. So that's it for now. In the next video, I'm going to talk about another vital pulp therapy called as apexogenesis. After that, we'll be moving on to the pulp therapy for non-vital teeth, which includes procedures like pulpectomy and apexification.